3, 2, 1. The liftoff of the Falcon 9 takes flight with the Dragon spacecraft, destined for the one-of-a-kind laboratory in microgravity, the International Space Station.
And the Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Good afternoon and welcome to NASA's Kennedy Space Center for the post-launch news conference of today's successful SpaceX cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station. I'm Stephanie Martin from NASA Communications, and I'm joined by NASA's Dan Hartman, the Deputy Program Manager for the International Space Station program, and Hans Koenigsmann, the SpaceX Vice President of Flight and Build Reliability. We'll go ahead and start with opening comments, and then we'll take your questions. If you're on social media, please send in your questions using hashtag AskNASA on Twitter. Dan?
Thank you, Stephanie. Gorgeous day, spectacular launch. It is so nice to be off the pad today and kind of avoid all those constraints looking forward that we might have had in case the weather didn't cooperate with us today. So we're just extremely happy to be on our way, and congratulations, Hans, and to the whole SpaceX team for a remarkable launch, and looks like Dragon is healthy and on its way to the ISS. Crew's ready for its arrival, really eager to dive into the research. We got an aggressive research program planned for the next 30 days or so, and so I know they're ready to go. Teams on the ground are ready to go and implement. So it's going to be a fun 30 days for the onboard crew and our teams on the ground. I'd like to say a special thanks to our late load team. Last night and yesterday afternoon, you guys saw the weather around here. They got called off the pad a couple times. I think lost a couple hours, 2 hours of trying to do the late load with our pullers and getting our animal habitats online and installed in the vehicle. They did a great job. We actually ran in beyond our turnover at 12 hours before launch time period. SpaceX worked with us on that. So just a tremendous effort that we could get all the late load cargo all planned. Nothing was removed or anything, and it's all on its way to the space station. So the SpaceX team support here with the KSC personnel to help out in those late load, and of course our JSC late load team is just an awesome job. So looking forward to berthing on Wednesday morning. Again, Jack will be the prime, using the SSRMS to bring it in to Node 2 Nadir. That'll occur around 6 a.m. And we're not working any issues on the ISS that would prevent a good berthing, and could not be happier with today's launch. It was a spectacular show, and I'll turn it over to Hans.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I also have just greatness to report. We had a good catch-up day yesterday, and many thanks to the pad crew and the NASA crew on the late load. That became actually a later load. And they made up in time, just in time to get the rocket vertical and loaded, and then ready for the launch. The second stage went into a near perfect orbit, I would call this. Deployed Dragon primed propellants, and has performed the first core elliptical burn at this point in time. Obviously, solar arrays are out, and we're getting ready for I think the next thing is the GNC bay door opening, and then continuing with more burns towards the station. Second stage has been taken out and is deorbited, and that was successful too. And then first stage landing was successful too, and I believe we do have a video on that. There we go, coming out of the clouds, and a sonic this boom. Is the landing burn.
Felt throughout the Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Air Force Station area.
And there's the landing zone 1, and
landing legs deploy.
Returns.
Just barely can see the landing legs deploy just in time. Perfect touchdown. It's my eyes, it's not the landing legs. And from what I heard, it's right on the bullseye, and a very soft touchdown. So it's a great pre-flown booster, ready to go the next time. And again, thanks for the crew, thanks for the pad crew, the NASA crew, and also again, thanks for the FAA and the range that worked through the weekend to get ready for launch, and of course, thanks to NASA.
Thank you, Hans.
Yeah.
Thank you both. We'll now take your questions in the room. If you please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation. Mr. Fernholz.
Hi, Tim Fernholz from Quartz. Two questions for Hans. One, I know that SpaceX is working the Falcon 9 towards its final build for commercial crew. Can you give us a sense of where the rocket we saw today is along that path? And also, you know, every launch successful this year is a new record for SpaceX in terms of annual flights. What does that cadence mean for your production and reliability?
So let me go actually add up on the statistics that I started yesterday, right? So we're now on the 38th launch and the 12th cargo mission and the 13th flight for this year and the, sorry, I'm not sure about that, 12th flight this year? 12th flight this year, 13th landing, and, no, 14th landing, and I get the numbers right, six successful landing. So I think obviously those numbers mean a lot in terms of reliability and looking at, and the first stage landing is actually an enormous advantage. We can look at the stage and we can, you know, figure out how the parts look. Is there any damage, any traces, any you know, corrosion or anything that we haven't seen before? So obviously that's a great win, and that's from my perspective, reliability. That's probably one of the biggest things that helps us getting more and more reliable. In terms of this particular vehicle, towards the end version of the crew, I want to say it's 96, 97%. It's pretty close. It's right on the way, and I'm actually, I mean, after every launch, of course, I'm very happy and glad whatever we did to the rocket worked so well. So same now.
Thanks. Yeah. Right here.
Chris Gebhardt with NASA Spaceflight. For Dan, it's more a curiosity question. I know back in February, Dragon had a little hiccup on its first berthing attempt to the station and had to delay a day. Mm-hmm. If that were to occur again, what would the contingency plan be in terms of the spacewalk that's planned for the following day?
That's a great question. I should have clarified that yesterday. Well, if we have to do a one rev workaround, I mean, the main thing with working with the Russians is, you know, if we get into I'll say somewhat of a contingency case where we're already in the air and we need to you know, do a once around and rebirth on the next day. We haven't had the discussions with the Russians, but I'm sure we would certainly coordinate a successful berthing and be able to carry out their EVA. Whether we could do it the same day or not, we'd have to go work that. But certainly, I think the Russians would work with us. So I'm really not concerned about that in case we do have that problem that we did see on the February mission.
Ken Kramer, Universe Today, Northeast Astronomy Forum. Really for both of you, I wonder if you can give us an update, please, on the Crew Dragon. It's really easy to imagine and happy to imagine that a year from now we might be launching people on the Dragon. From Hans, from your perspective, can you tell us where we're at? What do you have to still accomplish? When is that access arm going to get installed? And from the NASA perspective, what does it look like?
From my perspective, I mean, we have pieces of hardware, large pieces coming together to, you know, the crew capsule. Basically, we are in the weeds of qualifying hardware and working through the final designs, and software development is coming along great. I see people working on operations, so I think this is coming together at a great pace and with a lot of effort from the team, and you know, I'm pretty sure a year from now, yes, this looks about right.
And that's kind of where I was. I mean, we're very eager to, you know, especially in the FY19 period, to see a commercial crew Dragon come to the station on a routine basis. I imagine you'll see us flying some, I'll say, the Dragon 2 version of very similar spacecraft to support cargo ahead of, you know, or to get some more, you know, flights under its belt on Dragon 2, maybe even before we step up to, you know, I'll say the serious crew rotations that we need to occur on the International Space Station. So we're working with SpaceX right now to see when that conversion time is to go from a Dragon 1 configuration, is what we saw today, into a Dragon 2, and again, just to get more runtime on that vehicle. So those discussions are ongoing.
Okay, we've got someone bringing you the mic.
Randy Siegel from WSTU Radio. To follow up on that, at what point do you expect to be able to name a crew to the SpaceX flight to the International Space Station?
Sure. Well, we have our 4 crew that are in the training, and discussions are ongoing, and I think we're getting very, very close. I'll say within the next month or two, we could have to specify, based on detailed training down and in, of which 2 crew members may be selected. But I'd have to go back and really check with our the commercial crew program. But I've seen some recent discussions on that we're getting pretty close to having to name the crew.
We've got a question with James.
Thanks. James, Dane, Florida Today. A couple of questions. First, Hans, which booster are you reusing for your upcoming SES mission? And Dan, can you comment at all on NASA's NASA looking at used boosters for CRS missions?
That is a good question. I think it is one of the CRS boosters. I thought it's the last one or the one before. I'm not totally sure on those 2.
And for reuse on CRS missions, right now our plan is for CRS-13 to use a new booster. We are, in parallel with that, assessing and have teams in place, looking through all the data and data requests back into SpaceX. All of our engineering teams are in place, and we hope to have some sort of answer where we could take to, I'll say the agency team by the end of September is our current plan. A lot of data has to be exchanged, a lot of analysis has to occur prior to that. And so as long as some of those interim milestones are met, we hope to be close, like I said, by the end of September. Then whether we could turn that around and say, hey, we're good to go on a SpaceX 13 reuse rocket, that personally isn't our plan, but we'll see where we get to comfort-wise after that. But we're serious. We've got the request in from SpaceX, and so we're taking a hard look at it, and I imagine it'll happen. It's just a matter of when it does occur.
Thanks. Which booster would that be?
That's more for you. I'm not quite sure. Again, the 13 CRS 13 mission is a brand new booster, is the plan right now. Which reuse booster that is, I'm not sure that's been identified yet.
Yeah, I don't think we had any.
Our assessment, we're kind of looking at it generically, across all reused boosters. We're getting a lot of data in from each one of those. We're doing assessments on various components, various systems associated with that. There's some components that we know, even with the reuse, that SpaceX, changes out on a routine basis. So all that's in work, and like I said, come the end of September, we hope to have a call on that.
Thanks. And Hans, I just wanted to ask you had such a busy first half of the year, then a little bit of a gap here. How is the second half going to unfold for you? How many launches approximately? I think this was your 11th.
Yeah.
How many do you anticipate?
The gap was 6 weeks.
Yeah,
This is not a long time, right? I mean, we used to launch every other month, and then every month, and now every 2 weeks, and then you basically have like a little vacation in the middle, and everybody goes, we're on a break. I think it's going to continue in that pace. This is a little bit tied back to production and pre-flown boosters, and how the whole sequence stacks up, and how many of the pre-flown we can use. So the plan is to continue at that pace and bring it to a level of effort that we can sustain and keep going with, basically. And I do want to confirm it was CS10 on the pre-flown booster that you asked earlier. Yeah.
I believe we have one more question in the room.
Hans, Bill Jelen from We Report Space. So when you have the 9-day launch cadence, let's say that you start actually doing 9 days routinely, and you had to land at sea 2 consecutive times. Is there enough time to get the first stage back, unloaded, and return, of course I still love you, back for a second landing, or would you ever try and land 2 on the ship at the same time?
I don't think there's enough space, but we have 2 ships.
2 ships here?
We don't have 2 ships here, but ships can move around.
Okay.
It's a good question, frankly. I don't think you could ever. I mean, that would be super tight, and the ship is not very. It's a big ship. I mean, there's no question about that. But when you have the booster on it, it seems to shrink in size, and then 2 boosters. I don't think how this would work. Yeah.
So, are there plans to move the other ship here?
I don't think there's plans right now. I think that's part of what goes into the sequence too. You got to make sure that you stack the missions accordingly so that you don't have like 2 successive sea launches, for example. Yeah. And by the way, I think the timing could work out too. It takes you a couple of days to go back, take it off, and then go back out there. I haven't really thought about this. I must admit, this is a really it's a good new question to me, but I think the timing could actually work out.
Anecdotally, you were pulling the booster off the ship the day before you were supposed to launch. Now it's late a day, so you would have been 1 day short. I'm sure you can speed things up.
I'm pretty sure 1 day is not a problem in that whole sequence.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Up front.
Hi, Thaddeus Cesare with the Utica Phoenix, and for Dan, I was hoping to get a generalized cost per astronaut for the U.S. commercial crew to compare to the current rate.
For me, I don't have those. We can get those.
We'll
We can certainly provide what's been provided.
And as a follow-up, is there a litany of potential customers in the future that are expected to shift or migrate to the U.S. commercial crew?
Certainly, we'll have our needs to support the astronauts we plan to fly, for USOS crew members. For what we plan to do to maintain and operate and do our research on board the International Space Station. Other uses for additional crew members. Ours is going to be for crew of 4. And if there's other uses that SpaceX or other passenger capability that they're taking into account, I'd have to ask them.
Okay. Seeing no more questions in the room, we'll go ahead and wrap up today's post-launch news conference. As a reminder, the Dragon will arrive at the International Space Station on Wednesday, with NASA television coverage starting at 5:30 a.m. and expected capture at 7 a.m. If you'd like to keep up with the status of today's mission, please visit www.nasa.gov/SpaceX. And to continue to learn more about the International Space Station, visit www.nasa.gov/station. Thank you for joining us.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. The liftoff of the Falcon 9 takes flight with the Dragon spacecraft destined for the one-of-a-kind laboratory in microgravity, the International Space Station.
And the Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.